means anybody could have imagined this, or could have at least factored in their thoughts that such kind of things might happen in the future. So we are living this for last 6 weeks, and over the period we have learned about a lot of things, how things, and we have been trying to predict how things are likely to be happening. I take a shift back, and I like to look into the situations with a stint of history. And when I look into the history, probably such kind of pandemics we have faced in past as well, and mankind has overcome those all challenges of pandemic across the world, wherever it has occurred, and spread it across the world. And we have faced this challenge very nicely and overcome the challenge by evolving ourselves, and overcome the challenge by breaking the order what we used to follow, rather evolving a new order. And that's what has been, be it a Spanish flu, be it a Japanese flu, be it any of the more warlike situations. And that has led to a lot of changes in the people's personal life, as well as the corporate and the business surrounding it across the globe. So to summarize, the history teaches us that such kind of pandemics are challenges of a short term, and we need to evolve and shift our focus towards something else, and do all bit to overcome those things. But however, I would like to read along with the history a time lag as well. And when I built a dimension of time into this challenge, probably mankind has evolved in the last 100 years a lot, to a lot of innovations and technology driven R&D driven efforts. And however, the situations in 1930 depressions was something completely different than what has been in 2020. So I think this time around, it is calling us to look at, be adaptable, be more flexible, and be towards so dynamic that whenever there is demand for calibrations in your approach, you need to do it and overcome those challenges in a shortest possible time with great accuracy and great speed. And that will set the tone. And you are not in situations with this unprecedented scenario that you would be having a forward-looking view of 2 years, 3 years, or 6 quarters, 8 quarters, because nobody knows how this will pan out. Everybody hopes for the best, and I believe this is equally true for the ceramic industry as well. When we were fag end of the year, and when the industry tried to drive a lot of businesses in the last quarter, and especially in March, and we were robbed of those opportunities. And those goals, good for our trade partners, good for our all other vendors who are into the value chain. So all of us has suffered equally. And nobody had thought that our last 12, 15 days of revenue could set us back by tremendous disturbances across chain. So I believe personally that we should be open, we should search our inner strength, we should face this war like a warrior, and take the day as it comes, and definitely prepare for the worst and hope for the best. That's what the situation looks like to me. I just conclude my remark there for the debate to open, or the discussions to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chandak. Very, very interesting perspective, linking the history to the current situation we are in. Mr. Shah,
yes. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon from my side. Hope you are all staying home and very healthy. It's an interesting opportunity here to connect with all of you via this Indian Ceramic platform, and thank you for that. Indian industry, ceramic industry, in my opinion, has been very resilient. It's passed through several events. If you look at it in the recent past, while there were a great opportunity, like an affordable housing or a Swachh Bharat mission, and industry has certainly prospered. There were also challenges in the history, from demonetization or new GST law, or a new regulation on pollutions and all. And this is one more event in front of us. And of course, this is of slightly different nature. And together with the health challenge, we are all know we face today a global recession, which the IMF is accepting. So this event, by all means, is of a different dimension, of course. But I'm very confident that while this this event, this disruption will bring new challenges, it's also bringing some very interesting opportunity, which we'll discuss down the road. From my point of view, I think it's important that the team that we have built in each one of our organizations, we are able to hold them on the ground and manage to pass through this event and be prepared for the next opportunity. I think it's a great future, great opportunity ahead. It's right now we are in a deep dive. How deep it is, nobody knows. How with it is, we don't know. But ultimately, one thing is for sure: we are going to see a brighter days ahead, and it's best to manage this time and go through this unexpected disruption that is in front of us, and look forward to a very bright and promising future for the industry ahead.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mr.
That's
Shah.
from my side.
Very interesting comments when we talk about GST and demonetization. Somehow it's a deja vu. The emotions and the feel and the challenges that industry was facing not too far ago all all comes back to the mind. So very interesting perspective, Mr. Shah. Thank you. Moving forward, could I? One of the key questions from the industry is there are a lot of threats and opportunities, and everybody is living in these times of uncertainty, and everybody is thinking, what's next? What are the challenges that they're going to face, and what are the opportunities that they should look forward to? So, could I request Dr. Sharma and Mr. Panchal to elaborate on threats and opportunities that we see in short term? Dr. Sharma,
Yeah.
if you can.
Thank you very much, and I will congratulate Indian Ceramics to take initiative on this. In this field after that COVID-19, what will happen to the MSMEs and SSIs? So, and I am from CGCRI, and suppose the CGCRI is working very closely with MSMEs and SSIs for their benefits in different fields. So we, as per our assessment, suppose these all MSMEs and SSIs, they will face problem for the manpower shortage. The manpower from suppose Bihar, Orissa, all those people, they were working in Khurja, so they may not come back in time for so many regions. Then suppose this industry, their capital investment may shrink to maybe 50 to 60%. And suppose if in terms of finance, if we see purchasing power per capita may reduce by 20 to 30%. Working capital shortage will make all these MSMEs, SSIs to suffer, and maybe some units may collapse also. Then like last month, they were able to pay the salaries to the labor, but salaries payment will be a big challenge for these industries, for the supervisor and the staff. They may face big problem in controlling the expenses, and then suppose so many other countries' governments, they have declared that they will launch some new schemes, incentive schemes, maybe payment of the salaries, even in private sector. So China may come up with some different kind of surprising industrial policy. And that industrial policy may make Chinese industry to survive in a better way. And Indian industry may suffer. Suppose these industries, MSMEs, SSIs, they are not very habitual of working on cost reductions. So that will be challenge, threat to them, and they may not go for any diversification plans. These sector, they don't look into the safety and health. That now after COVID-19, maybe they have to spend money for that. So China, so many SSIs, they are working on that, sourcing the raw material from China. Suppose 2-3 containers are on the Chinese port, and 2-3 are on the way to India, and 2-3 are in the stock. So those industry may not get the raw material from China. Those industry also will suffer. It will be a big threat. Market, I think that because of so many regions, this will suffer up to December 2020 because of fear of COVID-19. People have to take a lot of care. In such case, what we were feeling very happy up to January, that Morbi sector, all those sectors, the tile sector, they are gaining market. Lot of messages were going viral. But now it may be just opposite. It may be. So these tiles and ceramic tableware, particularly bone china, they may not have 20 to 30% for their luxury products. That market may go down. Construction industry will suffer, and that will also, suppose in Noida, Greater Noida, a lot of construction, that also will go down by 30 to 40%, and this will be a big threat to the tile industry. If we look into opportunities, all this industry has to look into the management angle. They have to work on IT tools. They have the opportunities. They don't plan properly. They can learn how to plan. Efficiency, they need to work out. They have the opportunity. This is the right time to think. This sector should think on safety and health of the manpower. And suppose finance angle, as I said, they should now look into that, how to reduce the expenses and all cost reduction. Now, this is R&D angle. If we see low temperature products, nanomaterials, and weight reduction, like Morbi tile sector has done a lot of work reducing tile weights. That will be a good opportunity to reduce that. So market, we have to now look into the value added products for the customers, and this efficient, suppose this opportunity, all this sector should look into the automation and semi-automation. So this is my views, and I think this is somehow maybe looks practical for others. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Sharma. I think you've spoken the mind of many businesses today. I think a lot of people on this call have the same concern and anxiety, what you have spoken about.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'm a little bit, the challenges are, the industry is already there. Everybody is worried about the challenges. There's so many challenges, but I am looking this COVID-19, post-COVID-19 is the opportunity. Opportunity as a product manufacturer, there is a big opportunity to grow from locally to globally. There is a time, there is a concern that we have to change our productivity, our quality plan, our productivity concern. So for the product, it is the big opportunity to move forward to the global market. And as far as the investment concern, is I'm always saying that in the capital equipment, our industry is closed by very fast and open by very last, because everybody is closing the investment very primary, very immediately, and it will open. But I am looking as an industry, as an overall industries like sanitawares, refractory, tiles. So there is a opportunity to move forward in the global technology. This is the time where we can get the world-class technology at a low cost. That is the opportunity. What I am looking, the positive way of opportunity. And there is another big opportunity is our Indian company or our worldwide company or Indian company can move forward for acquisition and merger. So we can acquire and we can expand our product base or our technology base by that way. And there is one big challenge. Not I seen the question. There is a big shortage of worker, our working people. So most of the worker is depending upon the out of state, which is now in a big fear. So here there is again opportunity to make skill development from locally, or we can develop the cluster based skill development program. And third is the very unplowed market is the woman empowerment. So we have to utilize that is the one of the opportunity to increase our woman involvement in our productivity. So this is I am little bit more about the opportunity, because what happens to happen. So this is my word for the whole our team. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Panchal. Very interesting insight, especially about what I found quite interesting comment about whether industry and companies can go for acquisition of technology. And I think that's a very interesting point, because in current scenario, companies which have cash battle fund, this is the time when a lot of these technology and companies could be available cheap. Again, it needs to be looked into, but that could be one area where some of the industry players can look at exploring new markets and new technology. So very interesting comment, Mr. Panchal. So moving on to the next question, we hear quite a bit about the impact on the demand. There are a lot of media and news playing around about the impact in Europe, America, where they see some of the market already forecasted to get into recession. Some of the markets are expected to behave very badly to the present COVID situation. However, I believe the Indian economic fundamentals are very different than what we see in other countries, especially for the size and the type of population that we have. So I would invite Mr. Shah and Mr. Chandak to elaborate a bit how they see the Indian industry and the demand differently. What are the different fundamentals of Indian ceramic industry, and what is their view on the demand? How do they see the demand coming back to what level? So if Mr. Shah, you can start.
Yes. Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. I think first thing, everybody should not forget that the three largest exporting countries, China, Italy, and Spain, all are having a disruption. So I think India is one of the best opportunity ever to get a greater share in the market. So while COVID-19 has brought a challenge, it has brought also this an opportunity to develop an export market for every Indian ceramic manufacturer. To my mind, this is a wonderful global opportunity to look at it. While and particularly China has a big share in the global market, and India has still to build up a lot. So there's a huge gap, and that opportunity is available today. And it is all depending on us how we go forward. But there is a chance. As you all know, there is a government initiative, Housing for All by 2022. Very important initiative from government. And government has also done a lot and keep doing it for affordable housing. These are the two very large topics leading to a huge demand which could come forward, going forward. And these are not just a luxury requirement or a discretionary demand. These are the real need of this country. So please do not forget that there's going to be a very big opportunity for ceramic industry to develop on these two counts. On top of it, if you look at the historical statistics, tile is still forming not a very big portion of the floor material. people are using a lot of other alternatives, and tile has still miles to go. So, and with this lot of new innovations of big size tile and the specialities and even matching to the marbles, today, people are easily switching from other flooring material to the tile category. So there's also a very great opportunity, because still as a complete flooring material, percentage share from tile is still way behind. Even on top of it, our Indian per capita consumption of tile, when you look at the global figures, is also not very high. This is also offering another opportunity. When I list down all these parameters, and on top of it, you look at this way, that if the price of the house are moderated, there is a latent demand for houses, which is going to happen more for the better health reason. A lot of people who are living in a cluster housings would like to move away and look at a nice small apartment, even it would lead to some risk of borrowing additional money. So there's going to be a big demand from that as well. So to sum up, in my opinion, incident to this event, there is a very big opportunity going forward. It all depends on how we shape up ourselves, and this is an opportunity worth exploring, and it's very big in nature. So I would say that it must be seen in its perspective for our own business development and in general for the industry. Thank you, Nitin.
You talked about the tiles. How do you see the sanitary ware industry? Is it the same comment, or are you?
Yes. So so sanitary ware industry, when we look at it, for example, in terms of the housing for all mission or affordable housing categories, or even if you look at, there was a recent mission for, Clean India, where there was a very big demand. So still there is a way forward to go. Lot of rural regions, new plumbing systems, new government sewage system has to take place. And this is all going to bring a very interesting big demand, especially in the affordable segment. And there is certainly a very good opportunity for the sanitary ware as well in this respect.
And in terms of demand, Mr. Shah, how do you see the demand? What do you expect the behavior of the demand in next, as we come out of this COVID situation?
So I think probably the whole world is in recession. India is also in a recession too. So obviously start is going to be moderate. When we start, obviously part of the business that normally we used to do would be lost out initially. But I have no doubt that we'll be able to recoup it in time to come. How we are able to go forward, we have to see. I think the events of COVID, there is a one case argument will not be, have such a high impact as it is in other country. If we are lucky for that, then we'll be able to bounce back into the business much faster, in my opinion, because there are a lot of other initiatives already in pipeline, and that's going to lead to the demand. So it could be a scenario where between 3 to 6 months, maybe we see this year as a lost case scenario, but beginning of next year, there could be a good opportunity to start. In any case, economy has to come back given the background of our population profile and various requirements. 2 years later, we certainly see a very good demand for the ceramic industry. So it's just a question of whether it's a time frame of about 12 months or 2 years. That's what we need to see as we shape up. And obviously the start will be gradual, but in no time, I think we should reach a 50% of our normal sales in about 3 months from now when we open up. That's how I look at it.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Shah.
Thank you.
Go to Mr. Chanda. Could I ask, request admin to flash the first poll question?
Yes, please. Here we go. Mr. Nitin, you would like to read the question for the audience?
Yes, so I already questioned it. I already answered it, but the question is, how do you see the demand post-COVID situation? And again, the question I would suggest that you frame or answer in the context of next, I would say 6 months, let's say by end of the year, early next year. How do you see the demand post-COVID situation? So there are 3 options: increase, decrease, or remain same.
So we keep it open for another 20 seconds. We see a lot of people participating in it.
Thank you, Edwin.
Yeah.
Could we, Edwin, can we carry on with the next discussion, or we need to wait?
Just a few seconds before I close it, and then maybe would like to comment on the results. Then we move forward for the next discussion. So
We'll take up the results at the end. That's better.
is it so?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we can move ahead.
So Mr. Chandak, again, the same question to you, and you are more connected with the tile industry, and how do you see the situation? How do you see the fundamentals of Indian economy? How do you see the demand behave over next post-COVID situation?
Thank you, Mr. Ashutosh, for laying out it very well for the whole audience, how things are likely to be visible. I take the cue from where you ended, and I would like to put it in this way, that there is always has been an overhang in the inventory and supply chain systems in our whole industry when it comes to demand and marketplace. So obviously that is one, and second is going to be about the inventory overhang being in the marketplace and having a muted demand situations, like all agree, about 3 to 6 months time. So obviously manufacturers would have a little challenging time for 6 months, and post that, as we all hope, that's going to be about a 50% growth. Where all this growth is going to come from is basically there are projects which are work in progress. They cannot stop. There are government spending which is housing for all, Swachh Bharat missions, smart cities, those cannot stop. So those will also migrate. Yes, there will be renovation challenges, but I also see renovation challenges people who can afford would actually think from the perspective of change surrounding this, people opting for antimicrobial product, people opting for antimicrobial tiles, sanitary ware, and all those behavioral changes are likely to happen. So at the same time, we must also read the demand with the same context, 2 pillars. One is must have, and one is one wants to have. So must have is, of course, the roti, kapda, and makan kind of thing. And one is like, would say that I want to have is something we can classify as discriminatory. And unfortunately or fortunately, majority of our sales lies in the discriminatory spending kind of thing, unless it is not necessary. So many times it's a lifestyle aspirations. We have moved in 20 years towards selling more aesthetics, more glamour, and more lifestyle oriented in home improvement categories. So obviously there would be some amount of slowdown which is going to last for continue, as that will not be the priority spent area for anybody. And this is supported by a lot of earning depletion at consumer level. And there is a fear in mind that what is going to happen for, say, another post-lockdown, is my job secure? Is the salaries are going to be cut? So everybody balances, try to walk between this. When it comes to a manufacturer side or the vendor side, we have to walk a very tight rope of balance between 2 letters of F and G. So like a fear and greed. So there would be opportunity, as you rightly somebody commented, to acquire. So is it going to be more aspirational, more adventurous acquisitions? One need to see, so that may not end up as a greed, then you are falling to the next beat. And if it is something to do with more fear, then also you're not coming out. So you have to be walking at a very tight rope walk between balancing these 2 things. As you know, the front end of the market is going to behave in a must have and want to have situations. So I feel, all in all, in a long story short, the demand for next 4 quarters is going to be kind of a muted from first quarter to move to gradually progress, then ride on to the agriculture produced harvesting season and festival season, then the momentum to pick up. By the time the policy impetus put by the government of India would certainly have the rub-off effect feeling across the ground, and that will certainly push the demand in the fourth quarter to go up. And definitely then for 2021, we are up, as everybody knows for sure. The Chinese products are getting anti-dumping clamped onto them for many markets across, and recently very soon likely to be in US. Similarly, Spanish economy and Italians have got more of destructions due to COVID, and overall their power to come back would be not that great as compared to what India is likely to have. And in past, whenever such kind of situations has happened, like in 2008 financial meltdown, our great industrial cluster like Morbi grew at a 13% CAGR for 4 years, putting a great amount of capex, expanding capacity, exporting to many countries, and the export has seen a multifold growth, and we are like being accepted in 170, 80 countries across the world. So more issues would be how quality focused you are, how for each penny you spend, you are not spending for the frills, but you are spending for the value for the customer. That is what the game is going to be for any demand which is unfolding for next 3 to 6 to 9 quarters to catch up. If somebody misses those things, probably it is going to be really, really difficult and challenging for them to sustain this. And of course, as Ashutosh and everybody mentioned, opportunities are humongous. So it is all about stay float. So if you are there in the game, opportunities are for you. If you're not, then it is not. So it's time to stick around, stay float, and staying float has to be like trying to offer the values to your customer. For every penny of the business should be spent for the value creation for the customer. So it could be digital interventions, it could be commerce, it could be collaboration between companies, it could be complementing building material product coming together to collaborate and market. It could be leveraging one's each other network to find the solutions. And there are multiple things to do, but as post this, maybe about 1 or 2 quarters, the positive rub-off effect of all the world economy as well as the government of India's impetus towards pushing the economy into something to gear up and face these challenges would certainly help. And I feel it's an exciting time going to be in 2021 to face the challenges, and a brilliant days ahead in 21, 22 onwards. So I wish all of us pull it together for a better future of Indian ceramic industry going forward.
Very, very, very interesting comment, Mr. Chandak. Certainly very encouraging and very positive and forward-looking. I think a lot of us will take encouragement from these remarks. I wish to further elaborate on a couple of points. So, as Mr. Shah elaborated on the 3 major tile or ceramic export industries are based in Spain, France, and Italy. And certainly those 3 economies are today better, okay? So there are 2 parts to the question. One is that the economies in the ceramic industry in these economies fundamentally has been decreasing, as we know, over the last 10, 15, 20 years. It has been migrating to less or economies where you have less cost of production. However, at the same time, there is still significant amount of ceramic industry which is based in these 3 countries. So, what is your view? What lacks in Indian ceramic industry, or how can manufacturers prepare themselves to be fit to leverage this opportunity? And it's not only limited to actually 3. You also have the impact of China, where world supply chain is now scared of having a single source. So that's another area where industry can start to look into tapping the potential. So what's your view?
Well, as rightly mentioned, that those economies which is like Spain or Italy or France and those part of the world is completely better. And let's not forget the fact is when Indian ceramic industry started growing up from 2000 to 2004 phase, and then post 2008. So we never export market is going to be one of our key stake. We never planned in those ways. Like we have to be export-oriented business, you know, like, and primarily because our domestic consumptions are quite good, and we are a large consumption economy. So with the aspiration class, and having said that, as we did not happening in ceramic industry in 11. So we did not put large kilns line. We did not put straight line forward. We just did the way we wanted, just to fit in where we are. Our entrepreneurial instinct drove those things in a very fast lane, and we have put up. So when it comes to entering those market and conquer and try to build your Indian story as a very strong contender and player, you are likely to be adding, as I first also made the comment, every penny you invest in your business is supposed to be creating a value for not only Indian customers now, but for the global customers as well. So taking just a small example, any of those advanced countries look for a social audit, and before any purchase out of any finished goods purchase out of any plant like ceramic or anything. And if as a whole industry we do not understand this concept, we do not comply with it, probably it is very challenging. And we having capacity, we having skill set, we having the competitiveness to build it. We might build a wonderful world-class product, but we do not comply to the requirement of those markets, probably we are left out. We oversight to the quality standards, what is being practiced, we are left out. So any short-sightedness of just 1, 2, 4 shipments, and I have been in that market, I can print it in my catalog, and I can claim that I am exporting, is not going to work. It is going to be a long-term strategy which is going to work better, and where quality is going to be one of the key drivers to ride on in this tsunami of perceived value for Indian brand made in India, and perceived negatives for made in China. So this is only bargain which somebody can make. If somebody forgets this bargain, then probably you know, the customers ultimately would not mind where the product is origin from. The, you know, like he has to mind for the what value is buying for his worth of money, what he's spending. And we should be well accustomed to those need and requirement of the world customers. Restricted to Indian customers as well. So I believe that is one those countries' rules and regulations, so that you actually respect those countries' customers, their need and aspirations, and their all requirements as a true global manufacturer and a true global Indian exporter. So that's one. Second, coming back to your last point, second point was whether this is going to be a great scenario for the Indian manufacturer. It is, because you look at the top 3, 4, 5 rank of the people who are exporting. You have one end, people who are exporting to America, 30% is exported by Chinese, and the balance there are Spanish and Latin American countries who are doing. So once there is a Chinese export anti-dumping clamp is there, and obviously the US is not supposed to be having a manufacturing setup created overnight. Obviously, they are likely to be sourcing alternative source like India, and there could be a Turkey, and there could be somebody else as well. So we need to fight those things, and very bravely, and upholding the tag of Made in India brand as a complete tag. It's not going to be individual brand in international market. It's Made in India ultimately, and that should stand for the quality deliverance, which is likely to be taking the journey in a competitive environment in the globalizations.
Thank you, Mr. Chandra. Very interesting comments. I think a lot of takeaways for the viewers and participants to hear and look forward to. Thank you. Moving forward to the question of what does industry do? So we had a perspective on the demand. We had a perspective on threats and opportunities. So moving to the next question, which is on top of everybody's mind, if I could request Mr. Panchal to help elaborate on what is the current scenario, current situation of companies and the businesses, and what practical approach he suggests that industry can follow or the businesses can follow. Mr. Panchal?
Yeah, as far as our Indian industry is since last 6 months is under recessionary impact, and we have seen the so many project is going to be hold on, but after post-COVID, no doubt there would be a big demand. It will take the time. What Mr. Chandak Saab have said that it will take, or Asutosh ji say it's 6 to 2 years. It is the time required to boost our production demand. But as far as the investment concern, there is a what we are, because being a capital goods industry, we have initiated the energy efficient, energy saving projects under the SIDBI, under the CII and SIDBI project, where there is a big fund for industry. And on that basis, we can improve there are two major requirement of industry. One is to improve the quality of the product, quality of the. So for that, it is required the technology, it is required the investment. Another way is to support this COVID trade. There is industry is having a chance to invest, to check how we can reduce the cost, how we can save the energy. So energy-based project. So for that, there is one good initiative done by CIE and GBC, Green Building Center of CIE, and we have arranged the 3 major cluster, Morbi, Thangad and Himmatnagar. We have arranged the good meeting with the industrialist, with the industry, and our team and CIE team have given how we can develop the cluster and support the industry for the cost saving, energy saving cost. And as far as if it is for like this, what I am looking that by this there is 100 crore fund is available for the industry. So by this way, if it is if we can as a ceramic association or ceramic people, we can make the one good platform and ask the government that how we do not require the free of cost fund. We require the soft long-term loan for the investment, for the changing the technology, and what Sarath Chandraji have said that how we can build ourselves for the global technology or global productivity. So for that, we have to move forward for the investment, and I already that there is a big chance to have a global technology, how we can take, and that is my concern, and that is my message to our all people, industries. That is the people. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Panchal. Very, very interesting comment. So in summary, industry needs to look forward to improving the quality. It's not only for control of the cost. Cost continue to be one of the main cost drivers for ceramic industry. And if you look at the world energy cost today, we are living in very unprecedented time in terms of price of oil. How does government support on this price of oil and pass on some of the cost benefit to the consumers or the industry to reduce the cost of energy? That's another important element to look at. And then you touched upon the soft loan, which is very, very interesting. Thank you, Mr. Panchal. I don't know whether Mr. Shah or Mr. Chandak, you have a take on this?
Yes, what Mr. Panchal said is right, that any industry would like to look forward for post the muted time, look forward for government impetus as well, to have support from the government to take this challenging time with the support of government would be easy. But I just left out with my comment, one of the comment which I said that the quality is going to be thrust upon. So I just forget to mention one example you can look in, that the garment industry evolved across the world and the supply chain shifted to Vietnam and Bangladesh. And if we look at their infrastructure in terms of garment industry export, worldwide they're exporting. And Bangladesh is no different than how Indian conditions were just 15, 20 years back or 20 years back, maybe roughly. So maintaining global quality standard, exporting how do you actually come at this challenge of quality and comply with all the countries? So as an export can only be an opportunity provided these are all taken care of. And there has been comment on the chat box that probably the export is in difficult time, all those countries are battered, so you have export opportunity. We are just about a 1,000 million square meter capacity as of now. And we have our domestic consumption would restore to, as Mr. Ashutosh also commented, in a 50 to 60% and 70% in 6 months time of our sales level. So post that, if you look at, we are not left out with that big a quantity for export. And worldwide we have been exporting to 170 to 80 countries. Big size of export market available in spite of those all post-COVID shocks across the world. So I am still strongly of the opinion export is going to be a great and good market for all of the industry.
Thank you, Mr. Chandak. I think Mr. Shah, you wanted to add a comment. So sorry, you are on mute, Mr.
Yeah.
Shah.
Yes, I did that. 2 quick points that I would like to add. We all talk about quality. I would just put a point forward. Quality in not just the product, but quality in everything that we do. Internationally, I have that experience that what end of the day matters is not just the product alone, but every aspect of the activity, whether it is a logistics service or anything. So I would say quality in everything that we do would be very relevant to be a long-term success. The other important point is, I think a lot of our industry players are coming from a medium to small background. It's very, very important at this point of time to start looking at seriously digitizing your data and prepare for e-commerce, prepare for all kind of digital evolution, which is just happening in many other industry. And I'm very sure ceramic is not going to left behind. So someone who is ahead of the curve in digital documentation would certainly be a big winner in the international market and will also partially benefit export domestic market also. And it is in a way going to help you in managing your inventory requirement also very differently. You'll be able to predict and forecast your demand very well. And ultimately, it will be a huge gainer for working capital management. You are leading with unsellable stocks that will go down. You can reach to a high level of customization to the order. So let's pay attention to I would say the whole digital world and the quality, as I mentioned. There's 2 additional points apart from what others already added. Thank you.
Sorry, I was on mute. Very interesting comment, Mr. Shah. Thank you very much. Certainly, quality is not only related with the product, but quality in everything that we do as an organization and as a person. Dr. Sharma,